The more available you are, the less valuable you often become. Not because people are cruel, not because you aren't enough, but because human psychology works in a way most people never understand. And if you've spent your life always being there for everyone else, this might explain why you're exhausted. Welcome to The Inner Path for You, a place where silence becomes wisdom and growth begins from within. Today, we're exploring the hidden cost of being too available. Here's the thing most people never realize. Nobody starts out trying to become the person who's always available. The friend who answers every message immediately, the partner who drops everything to help, the person everyone can count on at any hour of the day. It happens slowly. So slowly, in fact, that by the time you notice it, it no longer feels like a habit. It feels like your identity. And that's where the real problem begins. Because what starts as kindness can quietly become self-abandonment. What starts as caring can slowly turn into a fear of disappointing others. And before you know it, you're giving away your time, your energy, and your peace without even realizing the cost. To understand why this happens, we need to go back to where the pattern often begins. Maybe you grew up in a home where love didn't feel guaranteed, where you had to be good, be helpful, be useful, just to keep the peace. Maybe one of your parents was the type whose mood you were always trying to read, always trying to manage. And without even realizing it, you learned something very early in life. You learned that being needed keeps you safe. That lesson goes deep, like really deep. So deep that by the time you're an adult, it doesn't even feel like a lesson anymore. It just feels like who you are. You call it being a good friend, a caring partner, a reliable person, and maybe you are all of those things. But underneath all that giving, if you're really honest with yourself, there's a quiet little fear running in the background. A fear that says, if I stop being this available, if I stop being this useful, will anyone still want me around? That question right there. That's the real thing we need to talk about, because when that fear is driving you, you don't give from a place of love. You give from a place of anxiety, and there's a huge difference between the two. Giving from love fills you up. Giving from fear drains you dry. And most people who are always available, they're running on empty and don't even know it. But here's what most people don't realize. The very thing you're doing to make people stay, being always available, always ready, always there, is often the thing that makes them take you for granted. And this isn't because people are bad, it's just how the human brain works. Think about it this way. When something is always there, always easy to access, always waiting for you, your brain stops treating it as special, not consciously, but somewhere underneath, it just becomes background, like the furniture in your house. You stop noticing it, you stop appreciating it, because it's just always there. But when something takes a little effort, when there's a little mystery, a little space, a little uncertainty, the brain wakes up. It pays attention. It starts to assign value. This is why the person who takes a little longer to reply sometimes gets more attention than the one who responds in 10 seconds. This is why the friend who has their own life, their own plans, their own world, somehow feels more interesting than the one who's always free. It's not a game. It's just human psychology. And once you understand it, you can't unsee it. Now here's where things get really interesting. When you're constantly available for everyone else, something starts happening to you on the inside. something that's easy to miss because it happens so slowly, you start losing yourself. Not dramatically, not all at once, but piece by piece. Every time you say yes when you meant no, a little piece. Every time you answer that message at midnight when you were exhausted, a little piece. Every time you cancel your own plans to fit into someone else's schedule, a little piece. And after enough time, you look up and realize you don't even know what you want anymore. You don't know what you enjoy when no one needs anything from you. You don't know who you are when you're not being useful to someone. That's a frightening place to be, because your sense of self, your identity, your confidence, your inner stability, it's not built by how much you do for others. It's built by how well you honor yourself, by whether you keep the promises you make to yourself, by whether you treat your own time, your own energy, your own peace as something that actually matters. Every time you don't do that, you're sending yourself a message. And the message is, I don't matter as much as they do. Say that to yourself enough times, and you start to believe it. And this is where the real cost shows up. Not just in your relationships, but in you, in how you carry yourself, in what you accept from people, and the kind of love you think you deserve. Now I want to bring in something that goes a little deeper than just psychology, because there's a kind of wisdom, not religious, not preachy, just human wisdom that's been around for centuries, that talks about this exact thing. There's an idea that what you hold too tightly, you lose. That what you chase too desperately runs further away. That the tree that bends with every wind has no strong roots. And it's true. Not just poetically. In real life, in real relationships, the person who adjusts themselves to everyone, who bends to every request, who has no firm ground to stand on, that person over time stops being someone others truly respect. Because respect, deep, genuine respect, comes when someone can see that you have a self, that you have limits, that you know your own value. And here's the painful but freeing truth. Some of the people in your life right now, they have never had to think about whether you're okay. They've never had to wonder if you're available. They've never had to make any effort to keep you close, because you've done all of it for them every single time. What happens next is surprising. When you start pulling back, not because you're playing games, but because you genuinely start respecting your own time, some people will react badly. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you're being cold or distant or selfish. And honestly, that reaction tells you everything. Because what it means is that what they valued was never really you. It was your availability, your compliance, your willingness to always put them first. And when you stop doing that, the arrangement breaks. But then there are other people, the ones who, when you start showing up as a fuller, more grounded version of yourself, they respect you more. They show up differently. They meet you where you are instead of expecting you to always come to them. Those people are worth keeping. The rest, let them go. With peace, with no bitterness, but let them go. Because here's what I want you to really hear. Your time is not a small thing. Your energy is not a small thing. The attention you give to someone, the real, genuine, present attention, that's actually one of the most valuable things one human being can offer another. And when you spread it so thin that it's everywhere all the time for everyone, it loses its weight, it loses its meaning. But when you become someone who is not always available, someone who has their own life, their own things going on, their own priorities, the moments when you do show up carry a completely different energy. People feel it. They feel that you chose to be there. And that choice means something. There's a difference between being available and being present. You can be available 24 hours a day and never once be truly present. Never once be fully in the moment with someone. And a person can be hard to reach, have a full, busy life. And when they show up, they are completely, entirely there. No distractions, no half attention, all in. That's what people actually hunger for. Not someone who is always reachable, but someone who, when they're with you, makes you feel like the only thing that matters. You become that person not by playing hard to get, but by genuinely building a life that is rich enough, full enough, meaningful enough, that you're not just sitting around waiting to be needed. When you have your own things, your own passions, your own quiet moments of growth, when you start investing in yourself the way you've been investing in everyone else, something changes. Not just on the outside, but on the inside. You start to feel more solid, more grounded, like you have a center that isn't constantly being pulled in someone else's direction. And from that place, something really beautiful becomes possible. You can give. Genuinely, freely, warmly give. But from a full place, not from fear, not from the need to be needed, but because you actually want to. And giving from that place feels completely different. It doesn't drain you. It connects you. It creates something real between two people, instead of a one-sided arrangement dressed up as a relationship. So let me ask you something. When was the last time you were unavailable? Not because something went wrong, but just because you were living your own life. And you didn't feel guilty about it? When was the last time you let a message wait? Not because you were being rude, but because you were in the middle of something that mattered to you, and you trusted that the relationship could hold through a few hours of silence? When was the last time you said no, calmly, kindly, without a long explanation, and didn't spend the next 3 hours worrying about what the other person thought? If it's been a while, that's okay. That just means this is where the work is, and the work isn't complicated. It doesn't mean becoming cold. It doesn't mean pushing people away. It doesn't mean turning into someone who doesn't care. It just means starting to treat yourself like someone worth showing up for. Starting to recognize that your presence, the real you, the full you, is something that deserves to be chosen, not just conveniently accessed. The people who are meant to be in your life, the ones who are capable of real love and real friendship, they will not leave because you started having limits. They will not disappear because you stopped answering in 30 seconds. If anything, they'll respect you more. They'll show up more. Because you showed them by how you treat yourself what kind of relationship you're available for. And the ones who leave, who get uncomfortable the moment you stop being endlessly accessible, they were never really there for you. They were there for the version of you that made their life easier. You don't need to be angry about that. Just be clear about it. You are not a service. You are not a backup plan. You are not most valuable when you are most reachable. You are most valuable when you are most fully yourself. When you have a life that fills you. When you love people freely because you want to. Not because you're afraid of what happens if you don't. That version of you, the one with boundaries, with a full life, with a quiet confidence in their own worth, that version is not harder to love. That version is finally, completely worth loving. And once you feel that from the inside, everything changes, not just your relationships, but the whole way you move through the world, the whole way you see yourself in the morning, the whole way you walk into a room. You stop shrinking, you stop over-explaining, you stop giving pieces of yourself to people who never asked how you were doing. And in that space, that quiet, earned, peaceful space, the right people find you. Not because you chased them, but because you finally stopped running toward everyone else and came home to yourself. That's where it all begins. Right there, with you, choosing yourself. Not one day, not when things get easier, but now, today, because you were never too much. You were just giving yourself to the wrong places. Come back to yourself. Everything else will follow. If this message resonated with you, take a moment today to ask yourself a simple question. Where am I giving my energy away without receiving peace in return? The answer may reveal more than you expect. If you enjoyed this journey of reflection, subscribe to The Inner Path for You for more insights on psychology, self-growth, and inner transformation. And remember, the relationship you build with yourself becomes the foundation for every relationship in your life. Until next time, stay grounded, stay aware, and keep walking your inner path.